but I want to start in Blacksburg. I'm repping the shirt here today because if you're watching live and even if you're listening, the reason I'm doing that is I have been very hard on my Hokies the last year and a half, I would say. And last week we kind of got into it. We weren't planning on it. And I did say that I thought that it was time to move on. Little did I know that a 45-28 or whatever it was, it doesn't really matter. It was 28-0 Old Dominion at halftime in Lane Stadium in Blacksburg. And Brent Pry got fired by what, Monday? Maybe Sunday? I can't even remember. It wasn't very
I
long.
I feel like it was
Monday.
circulating amongst like the you know sports media on Sunday. I want to say as far
Yeah,
as like speculating that it was going to happen.
right. And yes, Deshaun Foster got fired at UCLA, which we all kind of thought was coming. But I think this one hits obviously closer to home for me. But I think it's a lot more interesting because Virginia Tech now is looking at a uncertain future, I would say, a very uncertain future as a program. And that is encapsulated in everything that is college football now, NIL, conference realignment, right? Semi-pro college football. That's where we are. And they are now sitting as a program at the worst possible place that you could be, which is irrelevant. They are not attractive right now to any conference that's looking to realign. They are not attractive to some of the best coaching names out there. They're not attractive to recruits in terms of NIL money, in terms of geographic location. They're in a bad spot right now. But that being said, they have a chance to right the ship and really reconfigure this program in a way that I think needs to be done for today's college football. I'm just going to say this, though. The last couple of days, the names that have been thrown around for potentials is just, it's patently absurd.
Well, I'm going to throw this out there. I want you to chew on this while I'm talking a little bit. What's a better job, Virginia Tech or UCLA? So think about that. We'll come back to that later. Um, as far as the names being thrown around, I get it. Like, and you and I have talked offline about this a lot. Like, you got to call some of those people, make them say no, because the last thing you would want to ever happen is you don't call Nick Saban, okay,
Right.
and he's on game day. Uh, whatever, like for week 1 next year, and is like, I was really interested in that job. Or something like that. Like that would be the worst case scenario. But I would assume though, if the Nick Sabans of the world were interested, they're gonna have their people reach out and say, "Hey, just so you know, like Nick's willing to kick the tires on this thing." Um, you know what I mean? So like, but
You
I
make the
don't
call.
blame.
That's all I'm
Yeah,
asking is you make the call.
and I don't get that. I mean, I don't blame them for doing that. I'm totally cool with that. What kind of puzzles me is people think that like they're like if you don't get one of these 5 people, like it's a failure. They're implying that I should say. And like,
Yes.
sorry, like you said, right now there is not a lot attractive about that job other than the fact that like there's nowhere to go up. And I mean that I think that's the most impressive thing about the job or whatever. Most attractive thing is there's nowhere to go but up. It's a place that has had success. I have no idea about what the resources are like in Blacksburg, but you dig into that and maybe it's more appealing once you kind of find out all the um, pertinent information than it is from the outside looking in for someone like me. But I don't know. I know you kind of like scoffed a bit at the idea of a highly successful group of 5 coach, but I think that would be, that's you want someone to come in that has some head coaching experience at this point, I think,
Yes.
because now I don't know if of course his name escapes me. The who preceded Brent Pry, did he have head coaching experience?
Justin Fuente, he was at Memphis.
Okay. Oh, yes, correct. Yes, he was. And Brent Pry was the D coordinator at Penn State,
Yes.
correct?
Under James Franklin. Yep.
Is that what it was? Okay. Now, did he have prior head coaching? I looked up his resume the other day, so I should know, but I don't know off the top of my head.
No.
No prior
No.
head coaching experience, so of.
No.
So, and
Mm-mm.
I mean, and that some of that's overrated, but it does matter. And like, not to, I don't want to jump to Marcus Freeman Notre Dame yet, but like Marcus Freeman is still. I mean, you're always learning, but like he still has a lot to learn about being a head coach because he had no head coaching experience, and he's doing it somewhere where he is like in the biggest spotlight, you could ever have probably. Um, and so I think that that's relevant, and that's what would make me think that someone with some head coaching experience would be the way to go.
I didn't necessarily scoff at them ending up at an accomplished group of five coach. What I didn't want them to do was automatically go that route because they've done it with Justin Fuente. They really didn't kick the tires on a whole lot. Frank Beamer signed off on this hire and they went straight to Justin Fuente. And honestly, Justin Fuente, his tenure just got worse as it went along, but it started out very well. They won 10 games a couple of times, played in an ACC championship game. It was just he as a coach is very or was very similar to like a Jim Harbaugh, where after a while kind of starts to grate on you. And then if you're not winning, it grates on you even more. All I wanted them to do was think big and at least, like you said, kick the tires, make some phone calls because you can't get what you don't ask for. I'm not saying that they should have gotten one of those guys. But there are guys right now who are sitting out there on humongous buyouts who really have nothing to lose. And so if you're not at least giving them a call, then you're doing the program a disservice, in my opinion. Now, I understand that realistically, they are going to end up with one of these guys. I don't know if a Signetti's even in the cards, right? Because you're already in the Big Ten. But there are a ton of extremely qualified coaches that have the chops to do this job. What I think is going to be critical for Virginia Tech going forward is that they start to think of this as a business. Like it's no longer your dad's college football. And that's what I said in a reel that I cut where Brent Pry is the perfect guy to come into a parent's home and say, I'm going to take care of your kid. I'm going to turn him into a man. And that would be amazing if this were what college football was today. And it's just not. It's not college football the way that we knew it, grew up on it. It's a different beast entirely. And you see a lot of these programs hiring GMs. Even in basketball, they're doing that. And it's where we are. You have to almost reconfigure the program to think of it in this fashion. And they've got to get to that point. I think they really have to start thinking about it that way. Now, you asked me, UCLA or Virginia Tech, what's a more attractive job? The only thing that UCLA has going for it is the fact that it's in the Big Ten. But I'll be honest with you, that's it. Because they don't really have history. They don't right now have really any standing in their own geographic area when USC is right across the street, who has a ton of accolades to go along with this, and I don't think UCLA is an attractive job right now because I think that they just, I don't know. That's the way I see it. And Virginia Tech being in the ACC has a much better chance, to our commenter's point about building the program the way you want. The ACC is a little bit more wide open. I think there is more opportunity for growth there. That's assuming it stays the way that it is. But that's the way I think of it. And that's not my homer answer. I think Virginia Tech has slightly more going for it in terms of upward momentum.
I agree with you. I think you alluded to some of the things that I believe, and that is that I don't know if UCLA being in the Big Ten is a benefit other than the monetary benefits of being in the Big Ten. They are the
Right.
second.
It's
They are the
educational too.
second. Yeah, they are the second um, college football program in their town that is not a college town.
Yes.
You know what I mean? LA is a very pro sports town. And the fact that, yeah, that the Rose Bowl is a historic stadium, but like the fact that they play at the Rose Bowl is a disservice to them because, from what I understand, it's a decent distance from their campus and I mean,
It's
we've
so big
seen,
too. Like you're never going to sell it out.
no, you're never going to sell it out. I mean, they have to tarp over a bunch of the seats. Can you hear my kids'
Yeah, it's
monster
great.
truck in the background?
Excellent.
Yeah, it's
Excellent. I
wonderful.
love it. This is why we're doing this at our home,
I
folks.
know
This is what
we're
it
doing it
is.
live.
Yes, we're
Uh,
doing it live.
so the
Where the hell's Rick when you need
I
him?
don't know exactly. Um, but I think that that's the only benefit of UCLA being in the Big Ten is the money that comes along with it. It's much easier as it currently is structured to compete for a championship in the ACC, and that's your path to the playoff, than it
Yes.
is in the Big Ten. And that's
Yes.
one thing when you mentioned Kurt Signetti, that's another piece that would be attractive about the Virginia Tech job is
Yes.
the path to a championship is much easier, I think, in the ACC than it is currently in the Big Ten. I mean,
And Indiana got
you have to
lucky last year with their schedule,
yeah,
remember?
you have to overcome, like, Oregon, Michigan,
Yeah.
Ohio State. I mean, Washington's, been solid. I mean, there's a lot of hurdles to overcome in the Big Ten before you're even in the conversation. Not to mention, the emerging programs like Illinois, that are currently in the Big Ten. I mean,
If
in
Wisconsin
Minnesota,
ever gets it back,
yeah, under Fleck, like, you could argue that, but he's a weird guy, but like you could make the argument that they are slowly improving, and the longer he's there, they're going to continue to get better. My goodness, I'm this
this is
guy. I'm gonna tie him up somewhere.
this is great. Yes, Jonah is here in the comment section, and our usual super fan is sleeping on the job somewhere in the Powell household.
Seriously,
Yes. Anyway, I I I think you're right in that there is a level of attractiveness. Now, again, there has to be some changes as a program. And look, I'm choosing to be positive, and I'm choosing to believe that they understand where they are. Now, I do think that the fan base has been a little crazy, but you can't take what you see on Twitter and necessarily lump that into the entire fan base. I think there's always going to be hope when you're a fan. You want to believe that your squad, your program is in a better place than it actually is. But there is one hire, or there's one potential name that's out there that I just want to shoot down right now, and that is Michael Vick. I don't.
huh, I was wondering if he was gonna pop up as a candidate.
He's popped up a lot, and the reason that I don't like that, first of all, I think if you're going to hire somebody like let's say a GM role, somebody who's going to be attractive or get the kids to want to go to Blacksburg. Well, that's your guy, right? That's the guy who was the guy in program history. Send him down there, all that good stuff. He has been a head coach for 3 games, and they've lost 2 of those. He does not have the head coaching experience, and I don't care if you put very seasoned coordinators around him, they just don't have it. And I feel like that would be sending the program even further backwards. I don't think that Michael Vick wants to take the job as it is right now. Wait for the next guy to get fired and then take the job, right? Like you wait for the next person to come in. But like he has 3 games of coaching experience. I don't think that does the program any services whatsoever outside of name. But even if you get the guys in there because Michael Vick attracts them there and you don't have a coach with any experience, then where are you?
Well, and let's be honest, like the verdict's still out on like Coach Prime, right? And like that's like I
Yeah,
think the test.
unfortunately.
That's like the test, right, of if this sort of thing can work. And I know they're not the same. I don't want to draw too many parallels, but I mean that great professional athlete, um, gotten into coaching at a smaller school. Now, Coach Prime had a lot of success at Jackson State. They
He
were
did.
good.
He did.
Um, Michael Vick has yet to reach that level of success to warrant even like if his name wasn't Michael Vick, he would not even be considered. Like we talked about here that Coach Prime was going to start being considered for bigger jobs. I mean, I thought that Colorado was below him when we remember. I said, "There's no way he's
Yes.
going to go to Colorado."
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I
I
just I
remember.
don't yeah, right. I don't think that he he doesn't have he hasn't earned a job at that level at this point in time. May he eventually? Sure. But just because he's an alum and was a great player at Virginia Tech, like you got to find somebody that's got more qualifications than that.
Yes.
I understand the sentiment and the emotional aspect of it, but beyond that, there's nothing there that you would, if you just crossed off the name on the top of the sheet, on the top of the resume, you would just throw it in the garbage.
Yeah. It's just I don't like that at all. But there is a name out there that is interesting, not for this job because the timing isn't right, but Eddie George at Bowling Green right now, working his way up the same way Coach Prime did. Went from an FCS school, took the Bowling Green job, seems to have the chops, like a real. I think he's going to be a real good coach. I don't think it's going to be like Coach Prime because nobody's talking about him. Remember, former player, former great college football player, great NFL pro. He might even be a Hall of Famer. And silently doing that at Bowling Green, nobody's really paying attention. I
Well,
think that's the route to go. Like
well,
not
his
not for this job. I'm talking about like if
sure,
you're going to be a player.
but he went what? Because he got the Bowling Green job from what it was Tennessee State, right? Is
Yes,
that what it was?
yes,
So
correct.
Tennessee State came in and played Notre Dame a couple of years ago, and
Yep.
like they played hard,
Yeah.
man.
Mhm.
Like, he got that team to play hard, and that's what you need. If you have someone that can pull effort out of 18 to 24-year-old young men, like, that's half the battle.
It is, but you have to know football, right? Like coaching, there's so much that goes into a head coaching position. And we've talked about this so many times about coordinators who end up going to be a head coach and they fail because everything that gets dumped on your plate as a head coach is just overwhelming. But I want to move on to Notre Dame. I think Virginia Tech will watch that. They're not hiring anybody yet. I think that okay, one more thing. I think people were like, why would they fire him now? Just ride with him for the rest of the year.
No.
I like it because to get the transfers out of there. Like, and I say that because the portal's open. Let them go. Let them keep their eligibility. I think that that's a good thing to let them. The school's almost doing them a favor, right? Like, hey, we care about the kids that are on the squad. Go and keep your eligibility and go. Because if you wait till the end of the season when you know you're going to fire them, now you're behind the eight ball. At least now you clear out the people. You know what you have left. You can assess the program, start recruiting from the end of the season and kind of go from there. My assumption is they're going to be doing a lot of transfer portal stuff because they're not going to be able to really get a full offseason of recruiting. But hey, that's okay, right? That's the only thing I'll say about that is that I feel like they made the right choice doing it now because what's the point? You know you're going to
Well,
do it.
yeah, and in the event that there's anyone on staff that they would be remotely interested in, like, you have the opportunity to give that person
Right.
a
Give
little
them the
bit of a
chance.
trial run here and
Yes.
see how it goes, which could be good or bad. I mean, because let's say that they have success, but, like, you're giving them the opportunity because you feel like it's the right thing to do, but
Right.
you don't love them, and then they have some success, you're gonna put yourself in maybe a tight
Yes.
spot when it comes decision time, but, I think it's the right thing to do by the players, like you said.
Yes.
That's good. Give those kids a chance to, like, preserve their eligibility, move on and play elsewhere if that's what they choose to do.